Hello, everybody. Dr. White here with a little tutorial on how to contribute to our collaborative class website. In particular, how to do your first contribution, your profile. So the site is hosted by Netlify. The URL is csc324docs.netlify.app. And when you go to that URL, you'll see this site, and you can see that there's a sample profile from me here already, and I could click on it here. I could also just go here. Either way, gets me to the list of all the profiles. There's some indication here of how you would contribute, but that's what I want to expand on in this video. And the profile itself is down here. I can click on it, and you get to see my profile, where I show how you could you could include an image. You can write about yourself, or you could even make just a video about yourself, and mostly make your profile just this embedded YouTube video. So let's get into more how this is done. So first of all, you're going to want to look at the repository that you are a contributor to. So you would head up to the Homer Hanumat csc324docs repository. So the URL for that is github.com/Homer Hanumat/csc324docs. And when you look at the repository, this is a Hugo repository. So it's going to have a themes directory, and inside would be the theme that's used to make this wonderful little website. And when I click on it, I don't see the theme. There's not a whole bunch of folders there that do all the things themes are supposed to do. Instead, there's a little reference to somewhere else on GitHub. In fact, if I press this, then I come to another GitHub repository that contains this theme. So what I've got going on here is what's called a submodule inside the Git repository csc324docs. The theme is a submodule of that repository. And that's going to be important when we think about cloning this repository. We're going to want to clone the stuff that you see here, but we're also going to want to clone down the theme itself so that it'll be present for us locally when we try to serve up the Hugo site and see how it's looking for us as we make changes to it. So you are going to want to clone, copy, and you're going to head to a terminal and make sure you're in the directory where you store your Git projects. And you're going to say git clone, but you're going to add a little flag, recursive, and then paste in the cloning URL. And it clones. Now you can head to your VS Code, and you can open up File, open a folder. So actually my favorite way to do that, and I already have a little reference to csc324docs here. You won't see that, but I see it here because I've already had a copy made, and then I got rid of it for purposes of this tutorial. You're going to want to go to Open Folder, and you want to look up the csc324docs. Click on it and say Open. And then you see the file structure here, the master branch, and you want to set up a little terminal, new terminal, and then you want to think about how you want to proceed. Well, let's go back to the website and see what it said to do for profiles. So I click on class profiles. So once we've got the repository down, we're going to want to make a new kind, and the kind is called profile, and it's going to be located in the profiles directory in another subdirectory that you get to name. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do that. Head back to VS Code and say Hugo new kind profile, and then it's going to be inside of profiles. So that's underneath content here. You see profiles, which right now just has a directory called Homer in it. We're going to say profiles / and let's make up a person. How about Supergirl? And it responds that this has been created. And sure enough, there's a new directory inside of profiles, and that directory has within it a little file called index.md, which I will now open. And this Hugo repository has been set up so that when I've asked for something of type profile, then my index.md gets set up for me a little bit. And it says I need to, change the title variable. Right now, draft is set to true, but I'm going to need to change that to false later on once I'm finished and I actually want to publish this thing. Type as profile should be kept. I'm supposed to replace this top stuff with a little teaser about myself that would show up in the summary. And then underneath the more, I want the rest of my profile. And so I'm probably going to want some help on how to do this. So one thing might be to just go to Homer here and look at the index.md for Homer. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. And that's Homer. And I'll go ahead and go back to Supergirl and double click to open her index.md as well. And so now they both stay open when you double click. So let's see how Homer got made. So looking at the Homer profile, you see that it starts with an image, and then this material here, which was, if we go back, we'll see is the same as the material that showed up in the little summary. You'll notice the image was broken. It did not show up in the summary. So that's kind of uncool, and you might wonder if you could improve on that. Okay, back to the profile, and apparently there's a few sort of sections of a little biography, and there appears to be an embedded YouTube video. So how is this being made? Head back to VS Code. So the stuff before the HTML tag comment more is what shows up in the summaries, and then afterwards is most of your profile. And so I'm using my markdown to make sections with 2 hashtags. And you can see that there's actually a built-in Hugo shortcut called YouTube, where if you give the ID for the YouTube video after the word YouTube, then it will actually embed the YouTube code. So you could make a video of yourself, upload it to your YouTube channel, pick off its ID, and you can do your profile mostly that way instead of having to write much. Up here for the image, this is more markdown. The exclamation point makes images. What's in the brackets is text that'll be shown if the image can't show, and what's in the parentheses is a URL for the image itself. And so why is this URL working? Well, if you look over in the Homer directory, in addition to the index.md, there is an image file, homerutputihi.jpg. And so this URL here is relative to the index.md. Since they're both in the same folder, I just need to say the file name. And I got my image. Now, you might wonder, like, would you like this image to actually show up in the summaries? If you wanted to do that, you have to realize like how the actual structure of the rendered website looks. And it's just a Hugo thing that the stuff underneath content, the eloquent, the JSF apps, the profiles, and the projects down here, they're going to show up at the top level in the rendered site. And so you could give this a try. You could say profiles /Homer /. So you give the / and then the address all the way down to that file. Let's save those changes. And let's open up a little tab, another tab on the terminal. So we have a separate terminal now open. And in this one, I'm just going to say Hugo serve. And then I'll go to browser and do my localhost 1313, which is how I look at these locally served sites. And I'll see how does class profiles look now. And that's kind of better, you know. It's nice to have that image show up here. So very nice. You'll also notice that since we've created the index.md, that's showing up here, and that's what you're going to make your changes for. So I like this, and kind of wondering, you know, if we should maybe try this trick for other places on the website where images might be broken in summaries. Well, that's all very nice. Let's head back to VS Code, and let's think about, you know, doing your own changes. So let's go to Supergirl, and you know, how about I am a super coder, and here I'm just making up some stuff. Tell you what, I'll just copy some text. Okay, and you can see as soon as I save the changes, the server detected that, and let's see how your profile is coming along. It's better, but let's go ahead and, you know, put in your name. Supergirl. And yep, looking better. And so maybe this is, you know, all you want to do, at least for this little sample. So sorry for the dog. The garbage truck is coming by. This is a big trauma for the dog. Back to the VS Code as I shout over my dog here. Such is life in the time of pandemic. Let's say you're now happy with this. We would like in production, like up on the website, for this profile to actually show up. So now we say draft is false. And we can go ahead and add these changes, git add all. They're all staged. Git commit. Add Supergirl profile. And now we can push up to the repository. So if this is your first push, you would have to do git dash u origin master. And since you don't own the repository, when you run this command, you're going to be asked for your GitHub credentials, your username and password. It needs to check on that. Um, so be prepared to do that. Um, let me go ahead and I'll just do it. Oop, what did I just do? Oh, I left off the word push. There we go. Now we got our subcommand and we can push. Now, the push has completed. And what happens is that Netlify is kind of tracking this this repository, and it gets a message that the repository has been pushed to. So it will head to the repository, grab the source code, rebuild this entire Hugo site, and push it out to the web through its content delivery networks. And it doesn't take very long. The time can vary. Could be as little as 15 to 20 seconds sometimes, occasionally a minute or two. But if I'm patient and I wait a little bit, then I'll see the new repository here on the web. So look at csc324docs netlify.app. Let me just go to the home page, and let's see under class profiles. Look, there's my picture, and we also have Supergirl. Wonderful. So you've done your work. In future working with this repository, make sure that you do a git pull before you make your new contributions, because you don't want you don't want to push up changes that are inconsistent with things that your fellow classmates have done. So that's all for this tutorial. I hope that went well. I hope the dog wasn't too awful. See you later.